Hi there. Going to do a little job on a Iseki TA370 tractor. Apparently these were made for the Japanese market, but subsequently have found their way around the world. The good news is they're nice tractors. The bad news is that there is no manufacturer support outside Japan. Manuals are virtually unobtainable and in Japanese anyway, so if you're going to do any work on one of these, you're on your own. Now this one had quite a bad oil leak from the joint on the steering knuckle here. So that required taking the whole thing apart to get access to the oil seal, take the oil seal out and change it. Had no idea how to go about this, so it was a bit of trial and error. Ultimately managed to succeed, so I thought I'd share the sequence of activities so that others can benefit from the experience. Right, this is the whole hub assembly that pivots. Got a bearing at the top here, and there's a bearing down inside there. Now to get at the oil seal, we have to be able to drop this whole hub assembly down out of the axle. Now doing this turned out to be reasonably simple. Separated the ball joint. That turned out to be a bit of a struggle. Even with a proper ball joint separator, it was quite stiff. Needed a little bit of heat to persuade it to separate. Now I elected to remove this plate with the hub and the ring gear inside, mainly to reduce the weight of the whole assembly and make it easier to handle. Also gave the opportunity to inspect inside, have a look at the general condition and clean out some of the muck that had accumulated in there. Now to be able to drop the hub assembly out, you need to take off this steering arm assembly at the top. That involves removing these 4 bolts. They came out fairly easily. There are, however, also 2 dowel pins which hold the whole thing together, and they are a very, very snug fit indeed. It's very difficult to get this item off. Fortunately, there is a cavity behind into which you can get a wedge. I used a small chisel, tapped it in lightly and managed to prise off this steering arm assembly. Now with that removed, the whole hub dropped a few millimetres, but no further. Because the next stage is to remove these bolts round here and take off this top plate. Once that's off, you'll find there's a circlip inside which prevents the hub assembly from dropping out. Now, very important to make sure you support the hub assembly before removing the circlip. Otherwise it could fall with some violence and cause injury or do damage to the component. So with it supported, remove the circlip and the hub just lowers out. It came out very easily, no problems at all. Once you've got the hub out, you get access to the oil seal which is in here. Probably the most difficult part of the job was removing the old oil seal. Takes a certain amount of persuasion to get it out. That's the condition when it's removed. The main thing is to make sure you don't damage anything else while you're trying to prise that out. Now, the new oil seal proved to be very easy to get hold of. You don't need to look for a manufacturer part because it is a standard industrial component. I got one from Statewide Bearings in Kewdale in Western Australia, and it cost the princely sum of $6.50 Australian. The size of the oil seal, it's 55, 85, 8, with 55 being the internal bore of the oil seal, 85 is the external diameter, and 8 is the thickness. So that was easy to get hold of. No need to go searching for rare and expensive manufacturers' original equipment components. Anyway, I managed to get the new oil seal in, tapped it in using a piece of pipe to get a sort of even drive round it. Then carefully put the hub back onto the axle, used a jack to support it, make sure you can actually get it up under control so you don't actually do any damage to the oil seal. Re-engage the splines at the top and get the circlip on, and then it's a fairly simple matter of putting it back together. So all in all, what I thought was going to be a difficult job turned out to be straightforward. So if you want to try it yourselves, then I'd certainly say have a go, because it's not as difficult as it looks.